Hi guys, it's Paul from ISM. We've got a Photo-Etch video today. I'm going to run through my techniques for working with Photo-Etch. As always, it may not be the right way, but it's the way I go about it. So if you get a few ideas or pointers off it, then fair enough. I'm going to go through various tools and methods. We'll start with cutting the Photo-Etch off the fret, finishing it up, files and what have you. We'll then move through to working with bending tools, rolling machines to manipulate the Photo-Etch into different shapes, and at the end we'll cover gluing using various mediums and other tools and what have you. So we'll start off with cutting the Photo-Etch off. Various tools in front of me. As always in modelling, I started off with a cheap £1 pair of pink scissors, and I don't mind saying they were pink, and a cheap file which I've actually still got, which is this one. It worked. It cut the Photo-Etch off the fret, and it filed it flat. I have to admit I probably destroyed more Photo-Etch than I used, and I think I did get on, didn't always look great, but it worked. So as always in the hobby, the choice is yours, what you've got. I've got a lot of tools, yeah, I'll admit it, but I've got them gradually throughout the time, figured out what I like to use and the way I like to use it, and this is what I've got today. I've got three methods here. Two I use all the time, one I very rarely use, and I'll explain why in a second. But it's up to you what you use and how you use it, but this is how I do it. So we'll start off with cutting. First up is, this is a pair of Photo-Etch plastic sprue cutters. They could be used for a multitude of things, but that's what they're marketed at. This is a second set I've got. This is my Tamiya set I use for plastic. That's all I use these for, so the blades never get damaged, unlike Lee's. I believe he broke his. Cutting some wire, I think it was. I've got these cheaper pair that I use for cutting lead wire, thin bits of narrow gauge wire and what have you, for various, adding detail to models. I also use them for cutting Photo-Etch, scrap bits of Photo-Etch up for something I need, because it's soft brass, so it's not going to damage the steel tips. Quite a cumbersome tool, not the most, precise tool, but it works. So all I'll use these for, they're no good for getting in, for doing the likes of this. It may not do it on camera, because you cannot quite get in. If you do, you end up damaging it, bending it. As you can see, that part's bent. So they're not the most precise, but literally I'll use this, okay, I need a bit of scrap Photo-Etch. I need that bit there, so cut. Didn't quite cut the first bit. There we go. Get on my finger. So there we go, that's what I'll use those for. So anything that doesn't need any precision, or I don't need to worry about damaging the part, that's what I'll use. I was found getting a similar effect off the cheap scissors. They worked and they did get the Photo-Etch off, but because they're not a precise tool and the blades were quite thick, I was found it was damaging more than I was using. So don't tend to use that unless it's for something I don't really need to keep. My next progression from the cheap scissors was a pair of Tamiya's Photo-Etch scissors, and these things are absolutely brilliant. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see. Superb, about £14 in the UK. Very, very well made. When you close the actual scissors together, they form an absolutely perfect point. Curved, so you can get nice angles in without struggling, and a very precise tip as well. So again, it's not the most precise of tools, but for getting larger parts off, we pick something that's quite difficult to remove. There we go. The Photo-Etch is making the white bounce go, so I do apologise. There we go, we got our part on the end, so it's literally a case of popping it in where you want it. I'm a little bit further away than I'd like to be from the Photo-Etch, so bear with me. Pop it in, obviously because it's curved, it allows you to get right in there, and there you go. So nicely, neatly cut. It's then a case of what I'll normally do is, if it's left a little bit at the fret, I'll just go in and snip it off. Like so. Then it's just simply a case of tidying up with whatever medium you've got. I mean, I start off with a cheap file like this. Is the exact one I used to use. Problem is, it's quite coarse. Running it along the Photo-Etch used to damage it quite a lot. It would bend it an awful lot. I then moved on to Tamiya's diamond file, which works absolutely superb. Had this for nearly 2 years now. It's just a case of very lightly passing it over the edge. It takes a couple of passes. A bit more on that one, it's quite a big one. There we go. Perfect edge. Same with the other end. Job done. As always, doesn't need a lot of pressure, just let it do its own thing, and away we go. So that's the method I use probably 60% of the time. The other 40, I use a small tool shop, I believe they are. They make a roll machine, which I've got, and they also make a bender machine, which I've got as well. And they make this very neat, small little set for cutting Photo-Etch parts off sprues. So it's a case of popping that on there, pick the part you want, and what I'm going to do is going to bring my camera back. There we go, that'll do. Because I need to get a bit closer with this. We can get it out of there. That's better. Let's stop the white balance going. So for this you need a knife. Curved blades more preferable, because you want to use that rocking action to cut your parts off. So I'm going to pick a part, we'll go for that one. Just there. It's a case of using the placing tool, which is this little perspex piece with a chamfered edge, right on the edge of where you want to cut, like so. Then it's a case coming in with your knife. Quite hard for me to see because I'm not right over top. There we go, a little click. Normally indicates you've cut through. Round to the other side. Pop it in, blade just up to the edge, and there's a second click. So there we go, cut off. Probably about the same kind of neatness we got before of the scissors, but because it's a little bit more precise, and the major factor of it is, as you saw when I cut with the scissors, the part can fly away. Because you're holding it with this part, it doesn't fly off basically, so it's a good way of keeping hold of the part. It can be a bit fiddly, but I'll use that on really small parts. I mean, some Photo-Etch can be minute. I mean, that's not the smallest you can get. You really are minute parts. So things like that, you cut those with scissors, that's going to ping off and it'll be gone forever. Carpet monster will eat that, you'll never see it again. So always a very handy tool. And again, clean up yet again with that, as with the diamond file. Just literally a few passes over the top, and it gives you nice square edges ready for gluing or whatever you need to do with it. Okay, so you've cut all your parts out you require. Mine are all here ready to go. Just a few bits of scrap, there's nothing there that I'm going to need. A couple to put a few 90-degree bends in, a couple to make some rolls in and what have you. So various ways of manipulating Photo-Etch. First way I did it was with fingers, with a pair of long nose DIY pliers. Didn't work well. DIY pliers have got teeth on, so they always damage a soft Photo-Etch. So my next progression was a pair of Tamiya's bending pliers. Again, not a cheap tool. I think these are about, can't remember, about £18. They're not cheap at all, but they're smooth jawed, very well made. You can get them in a short point like these, you can get a longer one depending on the size. I bought these to bend smaller parts. They work very, very well. If you're just doing one single part, 9 times out of 10 I'll just pull these out and give it a bend. As always, Photo-Etch, if it's meant to be bent, if I can zoom in, if my camera will focus, I don't know if it will. There we go. Right in there. Sorry about the state of my hands as well. So I'm doing various other modelling projects at the minute, covered in washers and glues and all sorts, and primer. If you look just there, you'll see a bend, well not a bend, but it's an indentation just where the photo etch can be bent. So using that mark, you'll line that up into the either bending machine, pliers and what have you, and literally push it in like so. Excuse me, I've got the binman coming down the road behind me. Gonna make a right bit of racket now as well, probably. There we go. Lining that up till you get that bend, well, the preformed line just where you want it. Then using a finger, give it a bend. I always find going a little bit further than you want to and then coming back. And there we have it. If I get a pair of tweezers so I can hold it so you can see. There we go. I'll zoom in again. There's a nicely formed 90-degree bend. So that's now ready to attach. You know, there's various different reasons why I do it. It could be brackets, fenders, anything really. Wheel arches, mud guards, a lot, anything on armour or aircraft, but that's how I'll do it. It's one single piece, so you know, quick, simple, and that's an almost perfect bend. So there's one way. So like I said, the pliers do work very, very well. If you haven't got a lot of money, it's a good way to start because they do the job very well. And like I say, being smooth jawed makes a massive amount of difference because it doesn't damage the actual photo etch. Next step for me is one of the dedicated folding tools. I started off with a Mission Models one and I just migrated to this one, the small tool shop again. Very, very well made, very solid. There you go, that's the one I've got. They're not cheap, I think this one's about £45, but it's very, very well made, very heavy, nice rubber feet so it doesn't move. Made from a good quality aluminium, as is the top part. My only criticism with this tool, and I bear the scar somewhere, just along there, is that these back parts are absolutely just ridiculously sharp. I was bending a piece one day and I just caught my hand there and it ripped a good 1.5 inch gash in my thumb. You can see it just there and it was painful, very painful, but as a photo etch tool it's superb. If you're doing a lot of parts, this is a very quick way of doing it. So exactly the same way as before. If I get this on a flat bit of the desk, there we go. It's a case of lining it up. This is why I say if you're doing a lot of parts, if you're doing one part, you know, it can take longer to line it up than actually fold it. It's a case of lining it up. I tend to fasten one side down, have a look. Yeah, that looks straight to me. Tighten the other side, nice and tight. A couple of razor blades are supplied. It's a case of popping that underneath. I'll zoom in so you guys can see this properly. So I've literally slid the razor blade underneath, which is lifted it a little bit. You then keep the pressure against the front, fold up. I always go over a little bit, take it off, undo it, little tap, off comes the part. So there we go, if I can keep you in shot. So as you can see, nice, it's gone over 90 degrees, so I'll always bend it back a little bit because I tend to find it loses a little bit of that spring it has then. Sure if we're focusing there or not, if I pop it down there. Perfect way of doing it. It's a bit more of a purposeful tool than the bending pliers, but like I say, if I was just doing that single piece, I wouldn't bother getting this out. I'll grab the bending pliers. If I was doing a lot, like I was on the King Tiger I did, this had a lot of use, and it saves a lot of time because you're already set up. It's just a case of in you go, job done. So that's it. Easy, quick, 90-degree bends, ready to be used. So, you know, whatever need you want it for. So that's bending 90 degrees. We've then got rolling machine. If I move that out of the way, So again, I'll zoom out. This is a small tool shop Photo-Etch roller. So it's a nice aluminium milled and machined base. Foam base underneath. I've replaced this. It's come with a I got this second hand. I've actually got it for free, believe it or not. It came with a foam back and it cracked over time, so literally you're peeling bits off. So I put a piece of craft foam on, glued it in position, and it works just as it should. Top part, you've got all various different sizes, you know, from just under an inch right down to probably 5mm of that just there. Then there's a couple of straighter edges, and at the front you've got wire formers. So with that you can make grab handles, anything you need to make out of wire you can bend at 90 degrees. And with the wire, it's a case of putting the wire through, keeping hold of one end, pulling the other, and it'll form a perfect handle. And again, I use this on the King Tiger to build the hatch handles, and it works perfectly. Very, very good tool. So like I say, you get the actual tool itself, the metal base, and you get all various different size dowels, all various dimensions, wood, metal, some thin, some thick, all various sizes, and they all conform to these shapes here. So it's simply a case, if you're trying to roll, what was I trying to do? Trying to roll the front fenders, mudguards on Tiger 2 I was building. It's a case of popping the actual, we'll pop it in that one, popping it over the actual recess. It's roughly the size of what you want to roll. We want to get this in a half round shape basically. So basically to start with, you just push it in to conform it to that shape, which gives you, you know, a basic, not vulgar, but, you know, nearly perfect state. Pop it on the back. I'm going to use a smaller size this time. Pop it on. This is a foam back, so it's spongy. To be honest, it's not the one that come with it, so we could do it being a bit more spongy. And then it's a case of rolling, which is easier said than done on camera, until you get the shape you're looking for. Obviously, if you're going for a specific angle, you have to stop and check, as I was doing on those fenders, just to ensure you're getting the right angle you require and want. One thing this thing could do with is a couple of rubber feet, just like the Photo-Etch bender. There we go. Probably not the best piece of Photo-Etch to show on. If I had a bigger bit, it would have been ideal, but you get the idea how it works. So there's your half round shape. I'm sure if I put the bigger one in, I'll probably get a bit more precise in how I want it. So again, if you were trying to do cylindrical shapes, it would work fine as well. There we go, that's evened it out a little bit. So you can see how that works as well, rather well. Other ways you can do it on the cheap, I know a lot of people do it on the actual cutting mat. You could use a piece of this foam on the side. This thing costs, it's around £45. It's a substantial bit of kit. I wouldn't pay that much for it, no chance. I got on a job, lot of stuff I bought, kept this, sold the rest of it, and this eventually cost me absolutely nothing. That's the only reason I own one. It is really a luxury in my opinion. I wouldn't say that about a lot of things. Is it worth having? Yeah, it does a good job. It proved invaluable on the King Tiger with front and, you know, fenders and other sections had to be rolled. But I'm sure you could do it just as well by other means, say on a piece of spare foam or what have you. But for my means, this is what I've got, and like I say, the only reason I've got it, if I'm honest, is because I got it for free. So there we go. There's all various ways of folding, rolling, and what have you. We'll move over and we'll cover gluing. Okay, so all your parts are cut off, tidied up, bent, rolled, whatever you need to do to them before attaching to the actual model. I've got one of the 90-degree parts just there that you've just seen me fold, and I've also got a scrap piece of just flat brass just there. Couple of techniques using different glues, a super glue and a PVA based glue. One's less harsh than the other, but obviously one's instant and the other's not. 9 times out of 10 I'll use super glue, and if you're careful with it you can do a perfectly good job. But obviously if you use a PVA type glue you've got a lot more time to manipulate the part. Should there be a mistake or you put it in the wrong position, you can really move it around, but obviously the downside to that is that you've got to let it dry, and that can take quite a while. So we'll cover the different glues in a minute. I've got a scrap bit of plastic. I've got a spare cupola ring off a King Tiger that we're just going to, no reason why, we're just going to glue them on. Nope, they're not supposed to be on there. It's just a little test bed for us. Now, picking up the parts, there's various ways of doing it. You can use tweezers. I've got various different types here, from precise ones to more larger scale, as you can see. Whilst they may be nice and precise at picking them up, it can be quite hard sometimes to keep them, you know, you've got it there, oh, and there's a perfect example. Squeeze a little bit too hard, away they go. Biggest problem I've got, that I find, is I've got a part that I need to glue down just like that. If I zoom in without knocking the camera too much, trying to keep it flat like that. Let me swap hands. Trying to keep it flat like that, often if I press a little bit too hard, that'll happen. It will spin the part round, and then you're at a funny angle, you know, get your hands all different ways and you can't quite glue it down because of the way you've got it. So it can be quite cumbersome to glue parts like that down. Same with parts like this. This is a bent part we've got. You know, I want to glue it down that way, with both, you know, with the bent side sticking up to form like, I don't know, so as a tent shape. You know, to keep it in that position and glue it can be a bit of a nightmare, because what will happen is, you can see the tweezers are going to go in the glue as well, and quite often I've dipped super glue on the part, gone to stick it down, and the part's stuck to the tweezers. So it can be a little bit tricky. So luckily there's a new product on the market by Ultimate, it's called the Ultimate Photo-Etch Placer. It's a reusable wax-based positioning stick for small and hard to hold pieces. So it'll be a photo etch, plastic, anything at all. You can use it on that. It's a natural wax-based product, as you can see inside. Sharpen it with a pencil sharpener. Once you've got it sharpened, you can pick bits up. Once it loses its tackiness, resharpen it, and away you go. So you literally got the full length of the pencil right down to a small point. This isn't the one, I had a half piece I've been using as a test, but it works very, very well. So you can just resharpen it right the way down till it's gone. Pack of 2, so it's going to last you quite a while, and it's a case of taking it out, pencil sharpener, like my little glittery one. It's a case of just clear the pencil sharpener out, giving it a sharpen. What I like to do then, once it's sharpened, is I like to give it an actual point with a knife to make it a bit more precise. If you're going with bigger parts, then fair enough, you can use it. Do my usual trick of going too far and snap it like I always do. There we go. Move that out of the way. So as you can see, you've got the tip. I then like to get a craft knife and just shape the ends. To get a point like so. Simple, easy, nice little tip. I've got a few of them. I've been using them for a few months now, and I think they're absolutely superb. So then it's a case of getting your part you want. So we're going to be using that, and to start off with, we'll use that one, and then we'll move to that one. So what we'll do, we'll glue one with PVA, which is Micro Industries Microcrystal Clear. It's a PVA based product for canopies. And the other one we use Tamiya super glue, just to show two different methods for attaching different parts. So a little bit of super glue, I'm going to pop it on the end of a cocktail stick. Sadly my Mr. Hobby tool has died, so with any super glue, you don't need a lot for photo etch, just enough on the stick we'll place it on there like so. I haven't got enough. Now we've got too much. Never mind. So it's a case of getting the tool, touching what you need to pick up, placing it on, job done. As you can see, picked it up flat side down, no trouble, no drama at all, and it's plonked it on. And once that dries, there'll be no trouble at all. Next one, we'll try a bit of PVA. I got a different cocktail stick. Be a bit more precise with this one. A little touch. Just on there like so. Grab a pencil. So you don't need a lot of pressure to pick up the part, you're literally just touching it. So you come along, pick it up, place it down, job done. So as you can see, it's just picked up those two parts. Nice, easy, place them in position, away we go. Again, I'm not sure how big a part you can pick up, but you know, if it's that big you can handle it with your fingers. So it is, pardon me, literally just a case of, let's try a bit more PVA. Like so, we've got a bit of a larger part here. Just touch it, pick it up, place it down, done. Cracking little tool, absolutely superb, really simple idea. Absolutely just made for picking up Photo-Etch. I mean, you could pick up plastic. I haven't got any plastic on the desk at the minute. But you know, wood, it should pick up wood as well. Should do, don't know if it does, let's find out. Yep, picks up wood and just drops it. It's a little bit too heavy, to be honest, for it. You're never going to be picking up something that big with it, because if you can pick it up, you know, with your fingers, you're going to. But small part, absolutely invaluable. There's another scrap piece of Photo-Etch. That's off the Tamiya Corsair. A little bit more PVA. So we've got the world's randomest tank cupola there. So again, flat bit of PVA, Photo-Etch. I'll turn it around to get the profile part. Just touch it, pick it up, place it down. Because it's not overly sticky, you literally only got to touch it and the part falls off. So even with just a tackiness of PVA, not super good, that was PVA, it releases the part. So really good, handy tool, works absolutely superb. And that is now one completely useless, really random tank cupola. But shows how it works. So you know, that's a fairly small part, that 90 degree bend, up to larger parts. Anything larger than this, anything you pick up with your finger, you can put on with a finger, so it doesn't need to pick up anything. But it literally picks it up with just the right amount of stickiness to hold it, but as soon as you touch the glue, it releases it. Absolutely superb. Invaluable for Photo-Etch. I'm really impressed by that. The other method, like I say, is using tweezers. But like I say, where I've got excess glue, like around this, when you're placing it down, you're going to stick the tweezers in the glue. PVA is not really that much of a problem. Super glue, you get it on the tweezers when you put it down, and 9 times out of 10 I'll leave the part stuck to the tweezers, so it's not always the best way of doing it. So there you go. So they're my techniques for working with Photo-Etch. Various ways I do it, various different methods, different tools. Some I use, some I don't, some I use all the time, some I very rarely use, but they're always there if I need them. Rather than worrying, oh, I've only got this one, like, you know, I can pick and choose which way I do it. But these things, absolutely superb, well worth looking at. Ultimate Photo-Etch placer. You get them from S&M stuff currently. Sean S&M stuff's got them, and emodels.co.uk have got them as well. I think off the top of my head they're $1.99 for a pack of 2. They're going to last you a long time, really are going to last a while, so real good bargain value for money. And as you've just seen, it works absolutely perfectly. So I'm going to go away and admire my random cupola, and I'll see you guys in the forum. So Paul at ISM, hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you soon. So take care, goodbye.